This is the Transformers Generations Legacy United Deluxe Class G1 Universe Autobot Gears. I don't know, he looks good. He's one of the old G1 characters that most collectors have been waiting for. I mean, this thing sold out pretty fast online when pre-orders went up. I picked it up in Singapore from Robo. Let's get him out of packaging. And here is Legacy United Gears out of the box. And this figure, man, it turned out great. I really thought this was going to be a corny figure with lackluster quality and subpar sculpt and design. But wow, it is looking to be one of the best releases for the Legacy United line. Boy, did Hasbro and Takara Tomy deliver on this figure. Let's take a closer look at the details of this new Legacy United Gears. Head to toe, the figure stands at about 11.5 centimeters tall, or about 4 5/8 inches tall. And for some comparisons, here is Gears with Beachcomber. We've got Huffer, we've got Cosmos, Brawn, Pipes, we've got Warpath, Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, of course. And then these two figures, Windcharger and Sea Spray, they're actually not part of the Legacy line. They are from the old Combiner Wars line. They're called Legends figures. It was a different classification of price point of figures back then. And a lot of these figures were done in Legends class format. And now Hasbro is redoing them in the deluxe class format. And I cannot wait till we get Sea Spray and Windcharger. The ones I don't have here right now are Tailgate and Power Glide, which are also in the Legend scale. And hopefully Hasbro is going to do deluxe class versions of those figures as well. Now on to the details of this figure. The figure comes with his sort of G1 styled blaster pistol, and I thought it was beautifully done in this glossy black premium grade plastic. He can hold it in either hand, and the instructions tell you to store it on his backpack this way. Very, very cool blaster. Let's talk about plastic quality very quickly. I thought they did a wonderful job in giving this guy premium grade, spot on, very, very good plastic quality. All the bits and pieces, gray bits, the blue bits, the red pieces are done in this really, really solid plastic. Even the way it sounds, man, you can really hear how premium this thing is. And I'm glad they didn't cut corners on this figure because they didn't have to paint it. The way the red and blue plastic look, oh wow, it looks spot on to his animation colors. I mean, it could be brighter, of course, but I'm really digging the colors. These elbow pieces could have been done in blue though, but I think they had extra gray bits, so they did it in gray. And looking at that head sculpt, man, they nailed it with this G1 styled Gears head sculpt. Look at that, the way it's been sculpted. I love those really sarcastic eyes. He was a very grumpy character on the show, and wow, they did a wonderful job with this head sculpt. The main feature of this figure is his front chest plate, which you will need to assemble. Don't throw away the box just yet. Once you open this figure, you will need to look for a tissue at the back of the insert, and in it will have the gun and this piece right here, which easily snaps onto the front of the figure. So you'll need to assemble it, and it does open up to reveal the inner workings and circuitry of his chest, as it was in that show called Changing Gears. Megatron had kidnapped Gears because he needed his personality chip for some weird reason. That's the only chip that could power Megatron's solar needle so he could drain the sun. And he would open up Gears' chest, and Megatron would just get that chip, or that personality chip from him. Now, I think one of the coolest thing, and probably one of the best features of this figure, is the way they've sculpted the figure and the proportions they gave this figure. On the show, here's the cartoon render. He kind of looked like a Lord of the Rings dwarf, or maybe even a hobbit. The proportions were that he had big head, big torso, and just diminutive arms and legs. And I thought they captured that very, very well with this figure. I'm loving the proportions. And he looks so much like how he did on the show. Well, of course, he's got a backpack, but that's really part of his G1 aesthetic. And like I mentioned earlier, that head sculpt is so G1. And I think they really nailed it. And here's a look at that G1 Gears figure. And as you can see, it looks a lot like that G1 figure in terms of the color and aesthetic. Articulation for the figure. The neck is on a ball joint. You've got a waist swivel. The shoulders sort of have butterfly hinge joints because of transformation. They have hinges that allow you to move the arms in and out, forward and backward 360. You've got a bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows, mainly because of transformation. You've got a swivel wrists. The hips are on hinges and swivels that allow you to do the splits, kick forward and backward, thigh swivel, hinge knees that bend more than 90 degrees because of the transformation. The feet are on rocker tilts. And finally, paint apps for the figure. I thought they did a wonderful job. Like I said earlier, the colors of the plastic really didn't require them to paint the figure. Most of the paint apps on this figure are the silver paint apps and some red paint apps because of the Autobot factions symbol. But the silver paint apps came out beautifully. Hardly any quality issues to complain about. You've got the baby blue eyes as well as the baby blue, all-spark blue windshield that they've painted. And as you will notice, they've already used solid plastic for the windshield, none of the clear bits, to reflect his cartoon accurate look, which we'll see more in alt mode later on. Transformation. You want to begin with the arms. Position them this way, fold them up, open that chest plate, chest piece, and then you're going to fold the arms inside. You set up the chest piece with the wheels opening up this way and that front chest panel opening up that way. The backpack, you want to unpeg, open up the wheels. Would have been nice if we had rubber tires, but that's okay. You want to fold that backpack on top of his head. You don't have to rotate the head, but if you want to completely disguise the figure and conceal that head, you can do that. You see these thin tabs right here? They're going to tab onto the arm or the shoulders, I guess, of the figure, and that could be a little bit challenging. You'll have to line it up so that the tabs properly align and tab onto the shoulders. The legs, open up the heel spur. You want to rotate and fold the legs onto his back as you would an original G1 toy and tab it in. The chest piece forms the undercarriage of the vehicle. It tabs onto the knees. And then this part right here just stays on the back to form the rear end of the car. And essentially, that's the transformation into his alt mode. It's, what is it, a Tundra or a F-150 truck? It's a nice pickup truck. And I thought the engineering of the transformation was really, really nice. It's a little bit involved, but not too annoying. For such a small figure, unlike what we've seen with the Cliff Jumper and Bumblebee mold. I think they did not over-engineer the transformation on this figure. I think it's just right. It's that nice sweet spot where it's a lot of fun, and yet it's not too simplistic. This is how you do a transformation, especially for a deluxe class figure, Hasbro. Moving forward, I think they should do more of this kind of engineering for future releases. In alt mode, the figure does roll very nicely on all four wheels. If you want to store the weapon, the instructions tell you to store it on the side this way, but I see a lot of spaces on the undercarriage. Would have been nice if there was a way to actually store it under. Maybe form like the exhaust of the vehicle. That way it could have concealed the weapon better. But that's just me nitpicking. I thought this was okay. I'm not complaining about the engineering. Very rarely do I get very impressed and satisfied with the engineering nowadays with modern releases. And this one is just one of them. It's a lot of fun to do so. And look at the proportions of the alt mode. I thought it was very, very nicely done. It's not too squat, not chibi looking. It's actually very realistic, obviously in a smaller scale. Rims are painted silver. You get to see a lot of that blue and red combination of the color palette of this figure. The grill, headlamps, painted beautifully. I don't think I can complain on paint apps in alt mode. For some size comparisons in alt mode, here he is with a typical deluxe class sized figure. We've got Hound from the 5-pack or the Detritus mold, as well as the Legends class figures of Sea Spray and Wind Charger. Here we have him with Cliff Jumper and a Bumblebee, also both deluxe class sized figures. The two mini semi cabs of Huffer and Pipes, Cosmos and Warpath, Beachcomber and Brawn. So he's a fairly good sized deluxe class, even in alt mode. And here he is with all the Autobot Minibots. So we're getting there. We're getting close to completing every Minibot from the Generation 1 cartoon. And so some final thoughts on this Legacy United Deluxe Class Gears. Man, this figure turned out great. I think it was an absolutely brilliant release from Hasbro and Takara Tomy. I did not expect it to be this good. I really thought it was going to be corny, it's going to be cheap looking. I'm thinking now that the hype on this figure is absolutely real. It is a very, very good figure. Could it have been improved? Maybe storage of the weapon. That's it. The transformation engineering wasn't over-engineered, it wasn't too simplistic, it was involved, but it was a lot of fun. This figure is obviously going to get a 10 out of 10. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.